I felt like well connected with someone that I don't know, and I felt like I was proud of being Korean woman.
Welcome to The Love of Art, the Perrotin podcast. Here, artists speak about other artists that fascinate them. Musicians, writers, filmmakers, actors, designers, in a very personal way. We believe that art belongs to everyone. As French sociologist Pierre Bourdieu wrote in L'amour de l'art, culture is not a privilege bestowed by nature. If everyone had the means to obtain it, it would belong to everyone. In GaHee Park's paintings, time and place are indeterminate, operating from a position of productive ambivalence. Figures are caught between creation and destruction, seduction and pragmatism, biology and desire. She often depicts intimate scenes where the idyll has turned sour and where art history's favorite still life subjects, rotund fruit, dissected fish, and lurid cocktails, are caught in a surrealist collapse of time and space. In this episode, she talks about Korean writer Han Kang. Enjoy!
I grew up in Korea, Seoul. When I was a child, I read a lot. My mom just bought like a few hundreds books of classic books of all the world. So I get to experience all the things. And when I went to a college in Korea, Seoul, there was a big bookstore near my school. So I would go like 2 hours before and stay there. Like everyone just sit there and read. So I like that culture. So I like reading. I don't read that much right now because I don't have time to read. So I decided to reading through audiobook. You know, it's very Korean thing that my parents buy like a lot of books and fill it up for children. So they did that, as a fashion back then. So I was lucky to get to know a lot of good books. My mom was just a housewife, and my dad runs a factory, aluminum factory. They're actually not well educated. So they were a little bit obsessed with children go to better school. I think back then it was very common for Korean parents who wanted to send children better place. So I was lucky. When I was young, like 18, 19, a lot of Korean children go to study abroad. It was kind of a new thing. And I wanted to study English. And I went to Miami to study English for a year. Then I partied a lot and I had a lot of fun. Like actually, like I learned like a pleasure. Like I never stared at the ocean for like few hours. I've never done that. So that was something you can't do it in Korea. I mean, you can do it in other little town, but I was from Seoul. You can't do it, that kind of a thing in Seoul. So I was like, oh, maybe I like to be in America, maybe? You know, it's more like people don't judge you that much. So I wanted to study more in America. So I transferred my college to one in Philadelphia. Then I stayed in America like until now, I guess. I met my husband in Philadelphia, and he's Canadian. So we lived in New York for graduate school for me, and he was in film residency. So we stayed in New York for 10 years, and I don't know, we didn't know what to do, you know. And then I started to work with Perrotin, and then at the pandemic, we decided to move to Canada because I wanted to get a better life setting. So I wanted to have an apartment very close to studio. So It was hard to do that in New York because it's so expensive. So yeah, we moved to Montreal and settled. So now I live in Montreal. When I grew up, you think about like what kind of a woman you wanna be. I mean, for me, Korea is very sexist culture, and there wasn't that many like women that I wanna become. I didn't have any role models, so it was frustrating because it's kind of you wanna find someone who can be connected. But then I read about Han Kang. She's a Korean writer because she won a Pulitzer Prize a few years ago. So I read her book, Vegetarian. I don't know, when I was reading about like a lot of sensation I felt, it was about repression, like touched me. So I didn't like it actually. I didn't like that feeling. So I stopped reading, but then slowly went back and stopped. I finished. I was like, I can't. She's not my kind of writer. It's not that fun. But she stayed in my head. And then this year she won Nobel Prize. I know I really don't care about what prize, but it's opportunity to rediscover. So I tried to read this book, Human Act, in English. I tried to read for a few years, but I didn't really want to start because it's really intense. I know it's really intense, but I was listening while I was working on my solo show this time. I thought it was kind of beautiful, and I don't know, still I feel like I don't know how to explain it, but it felt like almost warm and sad. So I don't know, I wanted to talk about it. So it actually gave me a huge impact to think about the world and myself, and my work. So I wanted to share. It's an amazing writer. So Vegetarian is a book about this woman decide to be a vegetarian, not eat like at all. And then the parents, it was the social reaction around her. The idea is like about with all the violence around us, how can you be innocent? Which she will fail because she ended up almost died at the end of the book. But there was a lot of scene that her parents would shove meat food in her mouth because she refused to eat because they love her in a way. But I never had that kind of same experience with my parents, but sometimes love can't be transferred in the same way that you wanna get. So it gave me a lot of like sparkle of childhood memory of like little experience and here and there. South Korea was occupied during the World War II. Then we rebuilt the entire community, entire country. But the violence, for me, the violence would treble. Like even if we are like very economically successful, people live with the trauma, and my parents had a trauma. I think we never can talk about it. I have trauma through that. So when you see a writer who metaphorically talk about this, it's it almost give me a little, not aggressively. It gives me like room to think about it without like being cynical or violent. I actually felt connected because she say like the past will save you, and I never feel like connected to the past. but that book gave me a little connection. I know that her family flew to Seoul from Gwangju before the massacre happened, so she was also very curious about what actually happened. To write about this book, she had to spend several years to research and read about what happened through those written document. And I know that she wrote in Jeju Island, which is my favorite place in Seoul. In my work, I'm always in between this kind of extreme, extremely beautiful things and extremely violent, sad things. Because I feel like I travel through that kind of two poles. I think it's very Korean of me because a lot of people are very hot and cold. So I find that balance, in her writing. That this is as a work of art. I find that this is very well balanced work, and the structure-wise, it's poetic, and she described the beauty in extremely well. So yeah, it's just admiring that someone can do that who has my mother language. For this solo show, I had several paintings that I was working for 3 years. It's very hard physically to paint for me. I don't know if other painters agree, because you're holding your arms for 10 hours, so you have to really think about your spine health. And some paintings I was working for 2 months, fast. But I like to have that kind of balance with slowness and fast. Maybe people can see what it is. I don't know what's good, what's worse. But yeah, I quite liked that difference from the body of work. If I meet Han Kang, anyone famous or I love, I would never talk to them because I like to keep it by myself. Yeah.
We hope you enjoyed this discussion with GaHee Park on Han Kang. Please subscribe to our podcast channel and follow us on social media at Perrotin so you won't miss any episodes or news. See you soon with more artists on the love of art.